And we are live. It's been a while. It's been a while. But sometimes it's just good to take a little break, come back fresh. Let's talk Premier League football. Guys, let me know how the mic sounds because I did some kind of reset on Google Chrome that I use StreamYard on. So let me know if everything sounds good. Because sometimes everything goes out of whack when you mess around with the settings. So let me know, guys. Let me know how it sounds before we get deep. And it's like horrible. But it feels strange though. I haven't gone live in a while. I haven't put out any videos in a while. But you know, I'm still here, guys. I'm still here. Still love football. Sometimes it's just good to focus on yourself and just, take a little step back, man, because football could be very draining. Because imagine we went from club football straight into the international break. It was like non-stop for both the players and the people that's covering the football. So I think it's very unhealthy to just continue, like just keep going and going and going. Because you guys have to remember, I've been doing this for 5 years straight. 5 years straight. And it's not until like this summer, like I really took a break. Like took a real break to say, okay, let me relax. You see what I mean? So let me know how the audio sound, guys. And then we'll continue here. Errol Brown, how are you? How are you? Let me know how the audio sounds, Adam. Before we get deeper into things, we got 10 games to talk about in week 9 preview. All right, so look, before we get into the match previews, let's just take a quick look at the awards for September. Not a lot of games, but you see Pickford claim Castro Save of the Month, and Ivan Tony won Goal of the Month, and that was a really good goal. Eric Ten Hag, Manager of the Month of September, for him turning things around at Man United after the opening day and the second match they losses. I think they got 4 wins in a row. And Marcus Rashford, Player of the Month, because of Man United's impressive run during the last, let's say, 4 games. So we're not gonna get deeper into that. I actually thought that I was actually gonna look at the nominees and everything, to be honest. Everything's there, but let's just take a look at the nominees really quick, right? So for Manager of the Month, only 3 nominees. O'Neal, and that's Gary O'Neal. I honestly think it should have been given to O'Neal because what he has done at Bournemouth since that 9-0 drubbing on the second of Scott Parker is nothing short of impressive. So I was thinking, give it to O'Neal. You see what I mean? I think Bournemouth is not even looking for a manager anymore, right? Because he's been doing a great job. I would have given it to O'Neal. I know Ten Hag has been doing well in the league with United, but still, and Conte has done pretty okay with Spurs. But you got to give it to Gary O'Neal for what the how he pulled things back at Bournemouth, man. So just scroll down. Let's see if we have the Player of the Month contenders right here. You could see who was up against Marcus Rashford. Look, Billing, Kevin De Bruyne could have easily won that as well. Højbjerg of Spurs, Alexi Iwobi, Jacob Ramsey. These guys got to be proud to actually make the list of nominees. But it was given to Marcus Rashford. I would have actually given it to Kevin De Bruyne, not because he's a Man City player, but he's been impressive, man. His link-up play with Erling Haaland and Foden and Grealish, all these guys, nothing short of brilliant. So I don't know. It's a Man United thing this month, So I would just leave that right there, guys. And we actually gonna get into the matches, man, because want to get things going today. So look, we're gonna start things off with something not too heavy. We're gonna start things off with Fulham, Newcastle, because we got Liverpool, Brighton, you got Arsenal, Tottenham, the big Manchester derby as well. You got the derby between Crystal Palace and Chelsea. So we got some big games to talk about. So we're not going to rush into the big ones. right away. So big shout outs to everybody in the stream right now, man. Appreciate you guys tuning in. The faithfuls. Appreciate you guys coming back for yet another one. I know I lost a bit of steam on the channel. I know, man, because YouTube is a thing that it just wants you to keep feeding it, feeding it, feeding it, feeding it, especially with football, a game that we have matches every week, always needing an update. It's very difficult to stay relevant. So it's like you on a treadmill, man. And I don't know if I could continue keeping up with that treadmill, man. I'm getting old. You see what I'm saying? I started this thing when I was what? Just turned 30. Just turned 30, man. I'm getting closer to 40 now. So let's talk Fulham versus Newcastle to kick things off in this week's match preview. All right. So look, last game, Nottingham Forest 2, Fulham 3, Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 1. The last meeting between the two teams. Let's talk about that. That was a 2-0 win for Newcastle on the road, and the previous game was a 1-1 draw. So for Fulham, the last time they picked up a victory over Newcastle was back in 2017 when both teams were in the championship. So they haven't met each other since 2021. Well, when Fulham were last in the league and got relegated, of course, but now they're back. And since they've been promoted to the Premier League, the last two times they failed to beat Newcastle United with 2 draws and 2 losses. So in terms of the overall record, 28 games, 12 wins for Fulham, 11 wins for Newcastle, and 5 games ended in draws. So it's pretty even. Eddie Howe coming up against Marco Silva for the 6th time, with Marco Silva having 3 wins, 1 draw, and a loss. Eddie Howe with the opposite of that result. But against Fulham, Eddie Howe, 4 matches, 3 wins, and a loss. And against Newcastle, for Marco Silva, a win, a draw, and a loss there. So in terms of any news updates for both teams, guys, for Fulham, 17-year-old Luke Harris signed a pro deal until 2025. He's a central midfielder, and he was called up to the Wales national team during the last international break. So keep an eye out for Luke Harris of Fulham. Maybe he's a youngster that Liverpool might sign up. Liverpool loves signing up these Fulham youngsters. And in terms of Newcastle, Newcastle actually close to finalizing a deal to sign Australian international Garang Kuol from Central Coast Mariners. The forward made his debut for Australia last week as a 73rd minute sub against New Zealand. So he also has a brother that plays for the Stuttgart second team. So look out for Garang Kuol, man. Will be at the World Cup if he's fit with Australia. He has Sudanese background, and he could link up with the likes of Aware Mabil. They look similar, you know what I mean? He looks similar. Player, maybe one of those refugees too. So look out for Garang Kuol signing for Newcastle maybe in January, and maybe they loan him back and bring him back in the summer. And also 19-year-old Elliot Anderson signed a long-term contract with Newcastle United as well. We've seen that youngster a few times this season. So once again, big up to everybody in the stream. It's been a while, man. It feels strange. It feels strange, man. Really feels strange doing this. It's been a while. But let's just talk squads and availability. For Fulham, João Palhinha, he picked up 5 yellow cards so far, so he'll be suspended. That'll be a big miss. Mana Solomon has been out since match day 1. Harry Wilson is not ready, but back in training. And Anthony Robinson is close to return to full fitness. For Newcastle, Carl Darlow, John Shelby, Emil Kraft, and Alexander Isak will all miss out on the game, while Alan St-Maxima, Colin Wilson, Bruno Guimaraes, and Elliot Anderson all recovering from injuries or doubtful for this match. For me, players to watch in this game, I'm actually going to go for the goalkeepers of both teams, Bernd Leno and Nick Pope. new players brought into the squads in the summer. And I think both goalkeepers have definitely been impressive so far at their new clubs. Berliner coming over from Arsenal out of favor when Ramsdale came over. And Nick Pope taking over from Martin Dubravka, who's now a Man United second goalkeeper. So I think it's going to be important that each goalkeeper put up a good performance, as usual, in every game they should. But most importantly, in this one, for Nick Pope, keeping out the likes of Bobby Reed and Mitrovic and co. And for Bernd Leno, I think it could come from all over the place with Newcastle United, with a lot of their strikers now, struggling with injuries. They would depend on, a few players to get the goals for them. So, look, in terms of my prediction here, look, man, I think Fulham's has started out the league very, very well this season. And when I say well, Fulham a sixth after 7 games. Usually after 7 games, Fulham are struggling in the league. They got 11 points. That's very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. The last time Fulham was actually in the league, right? They came 18th. They picked up 28 points in 38 games. So to pick up 11-7, if they continue on that trajectory, they will definitely survive the drop for the first time in a very long time. So I've been impressed with what Marco Silva and his boys have done. So it's difficult to write them off. They will be at home in this game as well. So for Newcastle, they haven't been as impressive as they were last season, but nevertheless, I think they've looked okay. A lot of draws, not the ideal results, but still they're 10th with 8 points, 5 draws, 1 win, and a loss that they picked up against Liverpool, a loss that they feel they shouldn't have picked up. But we're not going to get too deep into that right now. But I think for Newcastle, with the absence of, a few of their main men, some of them, Bruno Gimaresh, St. Maxima, Cullen Wilson, all these guys in doubt, might be a bit rusty coming into this game. I don't think they'll lose the game, but I think this one will be a feisty contest. Kudos to Eddie how he's, pulled them back from the brink of relegation last season and have them competing amongst the best. So, look, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw for this one, high-scoring game, and both teams to walk away with a point each. Yet again, I've been impressed with Fulham, so it's difficult to predict them to lose the game, but Newcastle have been a very, very gritty unit this season, and also very difficult to predict them to get knocked off. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw. Guys, let me know your prediction in the chat. So for Fulham, their next game will be a London derby against West Ham United, followed by another match against Bournemouth. So some good fixtures coming up for Fulham, I think. They do have Aston Villa and Leeds along with Everton. So within the next 5 window, matches there, I think they could pick up quite a few points, and that could actually help to solidify their Premier League status. So in terms of Newcastle United, the new Newcastle United, their next game will be against Brentford, followed by a big one against Manchester United on the 16th. I should be over in England that weekend as well, guys. So I'll try to document the trip. I really don't want to video things too much. I want to enjoy the experience, but I can't go over there and not have a couple clips for you. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm looking forward for the trip as well, guys. So for those of you guys who don't know, I'll be going over there. So that's it for the first game. What are you guys saying in the chat right about now? Big up to Adam the Great, who's saying, I think Fulham wins this one 2-1. Mitrovic on form for club and country. He grabs a goal and an assist. And for Newcastle, Isaac to score from the penalty. Well, I think Isaac might be injured. You know what I'm saying? And Adam says, you haven't said anything about the match facts. Well, what I started doing is I changed things up from last season, where I don't want to talk too much about the match facts because it's going to add a little bit more time. So I'm trying my best to actually trim things down a lot this season. You see, but even trying to trim things down, is the live streams are still very, very long. With that being said, man, big up to Mark Cote. I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm wishing Manchester United victory over City. Okay, okay. Is Maxi back for this game? Who is Maxi? Who are you talking about? Maximin. Oh, Maxi. I'm like, who are you talking about? Maxi? But anyways, guys, smash the thumbs up button if you're yet to do so. We are going to keep it moving for sure. Let's move on to the next game, and that'll be between Southampton and Everton. Guys, this is after the international break. Things are going to be very difficult to analyze. Teams could be rusty or they could be well drilled. Players, a lot of players could be fatigued, injured. I know I'm giving you injury updates, but it might not be 100% accurate. I think it's about 90% accurate. Because players do get injured just before the games and during warm up and after I do the research and all that good stuff. So let's move on, man. Game number 2. Let's get a move on. And that's Southampton versus Everton. Southampton 14th, Everton 13th. Both teams 7 points apiece. Let's talk. So in their last games, Aston Villa won, Southampton 0. Everton 1, West Ham United 0. In terms of the last meeting between the two clubs, Southampton won last season 2-0, and Everton won the home leg 3-1. So both teams won their home legs. Southampton have been picking up wins over Everton, quite often across the last 10 games. With 4 in all competitions, there's been 2 draws and there's been 4 losses. So pretty even between the two teams, as you guys can see there. So in terms of the managers, Ralph Hasenhuttl coming up against Frank Lampard. This will be the 7th time, and it's 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses, and the same record for Lampard against Southampton. But against Everton, Hasenhuttl do have 7 games, 3 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. All-time Premier League results: 46 games, 14 wins for Southampton, 20 wins for Everton, 12 games ending in a draw. So, guys, in terms of some news updates for both teams, let's talk a little bit about that from what we have. For Southampton, I didn't run into any kind of news, but for Everton, former Aston Villa, Everton, and Man City midfielder Fabian Delph has announced his retirement from football. And it's crazy because my mind actually ran on Delph the other day, and then I bumped into the article and I said, wow, I was thinking, where would he go next? Because he was a free agent, and I guess he just decided to hang up his boots, man. So classic player, man. Came out of nowhere to Man City from Aston Villa, kind of a bit part player. And then when the left back role was kind of left vacant by Benjamin Mendy and his injuries, remember Benjamin Mendy, guys? Fabian Delph stepped in and did a great job, man. He's a midfielder, but he stepped in at left back and scored some good goals. And Pep tucking his fullbacks into midfield, so it was perfect for him, man. And then he went to Everton and didn't really did anything. But Delph, had a really good career at Manchester City, won a couple titles and all. So look, Brazilian defender defensive midfielder Alan joins Al Wada on a permanent deal for an undisclosed fee from Everton as well. He was injured from the beginning of the season, and when he became fit again, he was not really in Lampard's plans, and they moved on from the diminutive midfielder formerly of Napoli. Also, promising defender Nathan Patterson returned early from international duty with Scotland with a knee and ankle injury. So that'll be another setback for Everton because they have a lot of defenders injured so far this season. But one department they did strengthen in is the defensive department there. So big up to everybody. Big up to Fresh God. Everybody, make sure you smash the thumbs up button for the video, man. Appreciate it. Back with yet another one. I want to be as consistent as I can with these Premier League previews and reviews. Anything else? Yeah, if I miss it, I do miss it. There's no commitment there. But also the Champions League. So appreciate everybody who keeps stopping by for the content, man. We heavy in the Champions League next week. And it's going to be October, 1 month before the World Cup. So I'm going to start hitting you with some World Cup content as well. I have to, man. I've been procrastinating, but I have to. So, look, in terms of player availability for both teams, for Southampton, Valentino Livramento remains out until 2023, and Romeo Lavia remains out, but he's close to return maybe sometime this month. For Everton, they have a long injury list with Ben Godfrey, Andros Townsend, Nathan Patterson, Yeremina, Mason Holgate, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, all listed as out. And their goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford, is still doubtful after picking up an injury earlier this month. So let's keep an eye on that situation. Players to watch for me, guys. I'm actually going to put this player on fraud watch because in the first, let's say, 8 games this season, 8 match weeks, even though we had one, postponed because of the Queen's death, player has not been as impressive as he usually is, and I think that's James Ward-Prowse. He has to step up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's doing his job more quietly this season, but we need to see that impressive Ward-Prowse if Southampton are to continue doing satisfactory this season. Also for Everton, Anthony Gordon, man. He's the man making them tick right now. Linked with a big move to Chelsea. It didn't materialize, but he's shown us what he's capable of doing, at the very, very high level. So he has a bright future. If we click on Anthony Gordon's profile right now, we see some of his stats, and he's already scored 2 goals this season, 4 last year in 35 games, 2 in 7. So very, very impressive, and he's a starter. 7 starts. And last season, he came off the bench 10 times. So you could see how he's been progressing throughout the years. This is actually his 4th season. He's been around even as a teenager. But, I think he's blossoming into a top quality player, man. So Anthony Gordon will be key if Everton are to actually pick up another win here, to add to the first one they picked up last time around against West Ham United. So, look, prediction time. Southampton versus Everton. I think Southampton have done reasonably okay as a transitioning team with all the new players they brought into the squad. And, just Hudson Hooter trying new things with somewhat of a refresh. So you do have to actually give them a lot of credit. I think Southampton was one of the teams I picked to get relegated because of how much they've been flirting with relegation the last 5 seasons. I think it's only one of those seasons they really didn't. But across many seasons, they've been really playing with relegation, man. So I've been impressed with how they started. As for Everton, I think they've been very good this season despite not winning many games. And were unlucky not to win more games. So for them picking up the win in the last game is just testament to the hard work they've done. And as I keep saying, one thing I've been impressed with is their defensive side of their game, where one thing Lampard did that was very impressive is bringing in Tarkowski and Connor Cody. Those transfers could be the reason why Everton stay up and not have to fight for relegation like they did last season. Also, guys like Demari Gray, Alex Iwobi, Anthony Gordon has stepped up, and new signing Neil Maupay could prove to be a great signing if he could add to the goal he scored against West Ham and an impressive showing against Liverpool. So there's been some consistency there for Everton. So you got to give him a lot of credit there. One thing that could be a problem is the goalkeeping department. I think Begovic did very well in the game against West Ham. We could see him again. So I think, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. And I'm happy for Lampard as well. I like Lampard. You know what I mean? He's a former Man City player too. I like Lampard. He needed that win, and I think he deserved that win in the last game. So with that being said, Southampton, I think they're going to miss Romeo Lavia like they did in the last game. He, stepped into the midfield and was starting every game, and his injury really, kind of exposed them last time around. Bella Kochap I think, made his debut for Germany during the international break. Him and Salisu has been good. Bazunu, new in goal in the Premier League as well. So there's still a lot of chinks to iron out for Southampton. So for this game, I think, I'll be more impressed with Everton. I think they're gonna win this one 2-1, pick up yet another 3 points in the league here. So 2-1 to Everton is my prediction, guys. Let me know yours in the chat, and we're gonna keep it moving. So what do you guys think? Let me know. So in terms of the next games, for Everton, who are 13th, their next match will be against Man United. Then Tottenham. They better win that game against Southampton, because the next 2 games are going to be very, very difficult, man. For Southampton, who are 14th in the league, their next game will be against Manchester City, followed by a match against West Ham. And we know Southampton are, Man City's bogey team, one of their bogey teams, so they're probably looking forward to that one. So, guys, let me know your thoughts. 2 games down, 8 more to go. Talk to me. So, big up to Adam, who says a 1-1 draw. Che Adams to score for Saints and Gordon for Everton. So, let me see. Marcel in the house, who says, big up to Marcel. I didn't miss the comment. It just, I just, didn't, let me see what you said. Okay. Big up, Dom. Good to see. Yeah, I didn't miss it. I saw your name, but I was like, caught up. So good to see you back with a stream. Crazy hurricane in Florida. Have no power since Wednesday. A lot of people house and cars are flooded. Yeah, I saw it, man. I saw it, but ain't nothing new, man. Ain't nothing new. You know what I was telling one of my daughter's moms? I was like, listen, it would be suck for people who actually moved to Florida, that part of Florida last month, like bought a new house and like moved to Florida last month, and like this happened. So it's crazy. So big up to Very Lane, Pichu, Mark Levinson, BX Gunner, Fresh God, Adam the Great. Who else we got in here, man? Big up to everybody in here. Marcel, Moritz, everybody who passed you to the Lengon Suite. Elias Abs. I didn't even shout you guys out, man. Big up to y'all. Big up to y'all. Nice to see you guys in here once again. So, guys, you're going to keep it moving, man. Let's move on to the next game. And the next game we're going to talk about is the one between Bournemouth and Brentford. I'm going to leave some of the heavy hitters for the, when things really warm up. You see what I mean? Let's warm things up. Let's get the engine on warmed up and, go in here. So, let's talk the 2Bs, Bournemouth versus Brentford, newly promoted teams as well. So, in the last game, Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 1, Brentford 0, Arsenal 3. In terms of the last meeting between the two clubs, those were in the semifinals, actually, of the playoffs before Brentford got promoted. Brentford was actually the team that defeated Bournemouth to get to the final and then, going on to the Premier League. So it was a 3-1 win for Brentford and a 1-0 win for Bournemouth in the first leg. That season in the championship, Bournemouth actually lost both the games against Brentford. So in the last 5, there's been 4 wins for Brentford, 1 win for Bournemouth. So, and before that, Bournemouth had a pretty good record against Brentford. So this would actually be the first time meeting in the Premier League. So this is going to be a very, very good one. And all-time results, 29 games, 10 wins for Bournemouth, 13 wins for Brentford, 6 games, and then in a draw. So in terms of some news updates, for Brentford, I didn't run into any kind of notable news articles. And for Bournemouth, I actually found something very, very interesting that, I want to share a little piece of it with you guys. Let me see if I could actually locate it, though, because I did save it, but I don't know if I could actually find it right about now. So let me see if I could locate this. It's something to do with the massive Liverpool win over Bournemouth. So someone actually, okay, I think I found it though. Let me see if I could locate that. Yeah, someone actually put together a list. Okay, I found it. So I definitely found it for you guys. Let me share this with you, and we take a look at this right here. All right. So if you guys could see here, let's zoom that in a little bit. This is actually zoomed in a lot now. All right. These are the biggest wins in each English top flight season, going back to 18, 88, 89, all the way to 2022, 23, right? So you could see like West Brom 12-0 over Darwin. You could see a 10-0 Newton Heath over Wolverhampton Wanderers, 10-0 Preston North and over Stoke. It's another double figure in 1908. Nottingham Forest over Leicester. So I found that was pretty, interesting there. See a 10-0 Aston Villa over the Wednesday. And let me see. No, let me see where the other one is. There's more. There's actually more. I found this on Reddit actually, but let me see if I could find let me see. All right. I only clicked one picture, but there's more pictures. There's actually a few more pictures, but I don't know why. All right. Let me find the next picture. But let me see. Let me actually share this with you guys. So if you wanna, do picture in picture and actually check that out another time, I'm gonna actually put it in the chat so you guys could actually check that out. Okay. So bam. All right. So I put it in the chat there. So if you guys want to check that out in the future, check it out right there. Okay. So we're going to keep it moving. But I find that was very, very interesting. There was actually, let me see, top flight 12-0, 10-0. Let me see if I could find a bigger result, some big results. It was, let me see, 10-0. There's a couple 10-0s in there. I think the biggest one is a 12-0. The 12, the big 12. Let me see. Yeah, there haven't been any double figures for a while. There's hasn't been any double figures in the Premier League era. And the last time there was a double figure was back in 63, 64 when Fulham beat Ipswich Town 10-0. And let me see, the double figures before that was 1937, 38, 10-1. It's probably another 10 something, maybe 10-3 or something. Maybe there's more during the season, but those are just the biggest ones. So overall, the biggest win in top flight history in English football, 12-0. West Brom 12, Darwin 0, and Nottingham Forest 12, Leicester Foss 0. All right, so I did give you guys a little bit of history there. So that was the most interesting thing about Bournemouth that I actually ran into that's worth sharing. So in terms of player availability here, guys, for Bournemouth, Joe Rothwell, Ben Pearson, Davy Brooks, Luke Kelly, and Ryan Fredericks all remain out, while for Brentford, Ethan Pinner, Christian Norgard, Keane Lewis Potter, all out or doubtful for this match. Players to watch for me, guys, for Bournemouth, Dominic Solanke. I don't think he's actually stepped up again. So he's on fraud watch. He hasn't done too badly, but he's been injured as well. But I think Solanke has to step his game up if Bournemouth are to stay in the league. Also for Brentford, Ivan Toney got his first call up for England. I don't think he played any minutes, but still it's a good he's making strides. Who knows, maybe he'll end up playing for Jamaica one day if he doesn't get any game time, but we'll see. But Ivan Toney remains a key part of Brentford's attack, and he's the reason why they've just keep being impressive game after game. So also for Bournemouth, you're gonna keep an eye on their manager Gary O'Neill. I think he's done a great job as the interim. So for prediction for this one, guys, look, Bournemouth's been impressive after the 9-0 drubbing. It's hard to predict them to lose games, but I think Brentford has a stronghold over Bournemouth, and even with Bournemouth being very resilient and gritty, and they don't really lie down and let you beat them too easily, even though they are home, I think Brentford are going to walk away with a 2-1 win here. Ivan Toney, man, is just the difference for I think he's going to give the Bournemouth defenders a lot of problems in this game. So Tony Mbuemo, the midfield, whoever plays in the midfield, whether it's Da Silva or Jensen, I think Norgard is injured, as I mentioned. Janelt. This Brentford team, I can't believe I predicted them to go down, and they've been impressive once again this season. So I'm going for them to win this one, 2-1. Guys, let me know your thoughts, on Thomas Frank coming up against Gary O'Neill here. Give it up to Thomas Frank, though. He's definitely put up with a lot of pressure from last season, and he's holding firm with Brentford. I actually run into a YouTube short. I was just going through some shorts, and I ran into how the Brentford owner end up owning the club as well. It was a weird situation, and he had owned Midtjylland as well, and he's definitely brought both clubs up to heights unseen, in previous owners. So look, let me know your thoughts. My prediction: 2-1 for Brentford. So in terms of the next games for both clubs, Brentford are ninth right now. Their next game is against Newcastle, followed by a match against Brighton and Hove Albion. For Bournemouth, who are 12th with 8 points, their next game is against the struggling Leicester City, followed by a match against newly promoted Fulham, then Southampton. So a very good period for Bournemouth here if they are to actually pick up some very valuable points. I wonder who's going down at the end of the season, because it ain't looking like Bournemouth and Fulham and, Brentford want to actually go back down to the championship. Maybe it's Forest, who knows? Maybe Leicester want to go back down after having been there for quite a while. So it's going to be a very interesting Premier League season, cut in half by a World Cup as well. And who knows what's going to happen, man? Who knows? But guys, let me know your thoughts on this game in the chat, okay? So big up to everybody once again. Make sure you guys smash the thumbs up button. We got Michael Olapido in the house who's saying Brentford midfield is class. Big up to Steve who says Brentford going to stay up easily. I'm going to take a 1-1 draw for this game. Bournemouth have been tremendous since the 9-0 loss. So Steve also saying Brentford midfield is very good. They got a little bit of everything. Michael Olapido, I would take any of them at Liverpool, but that's not going to happen. You know that, man. So Strasbourg, Steve again. Dom, I told you Bournemouth a decent enough team to stay up. Yeah, they are. So Adam is saying Cherries to lose 2-3. Moore and Solanke to score. Hat-trick for Ivan Toney, 2 from the penalty spot. Steve is saying he liked the background music. Oh, it's not too loud today. It's not too loud. Not too loud today. Steve, don't forget, bro. Next week, we got a link up for Champions League review on Wednesday, of course. And don't forget, we are going to do Europa League predictions on that Wednesday, if time permits, okay? And then come back for the Europa League roundup on Friday. The Europa Leagues conference and, of course, the regular Europa League. And we're doing it on Friday and not Thursday because I want to have time to watch as many highlight packages as possible, okay? And on the Thursday, I'll have to do something on the Premier League. So I'll be live Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So, I took a little break during the international break there because I knew that when club football come back, it ain't going to be much time to take breaks. You see what I'm saying, guys? And the World Cup coming up. So smash up the thumbs up button if you haven't yet done so. We'll definitely appreciate that. And we are going to move into match 4 today, okay? So let's keep it moving. All right, so let's talk. So West Ham versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Let's do this. I actually updated my old map book, and now it's doing all kind of nonsense, man, that I don't want it to do. Screen going into sleep mode. You know what I'm saying? It's mad slow. Come on, man. That's why I don't like to update things. So West Ham versus Wolverhampton Wanderers, battle of the W's here. Both teams struggling this season as well. And when I say struggling, I mean West Ham are 18th and with 4 points, and Wolves are 17th with what 6 points. So both teams definitely not where they want to be. Last game, Everton 1, West Ham 0, Wolves 0, Manchester City 3. Who remembers that? Whooping. So in terms of the last meeting between the two clubs, West Ham 1, Wolves 0, and Wolves 1, West Ham 0. So both teams won the home legs last season. And the previous season, West Ham actually did the double over Wolverhampton Wanderers. But since their promotion back in 2018, Wolves have been getting the better of West Ham. So very good by West Ham to bounce back in the last 4 games, winning 3 of those. So look, all-time Premier League results, 12 matches, 5 wins for the Hammers, 6 wins for Wolves, and 1 match ending in a draw. Bruno Lage and David Moyes would meet each other for the 3rd time with 1 win apiece. And this would be the 18th time David Moyes is meeting Wolves. 9 wins, 4 draws, 4 losses. Very impressive. 3rd meeting against West Ham for Lodge, 1 win and a loss. So, look, in terms of some news updates for both clubs, and guys, if you have any news updates, anything to share, please, feel free to do so, okay? So, for West Ham, former player Mark Noble will return to West Ham in the role of sporting director. And he will start his new job from January 2nd, 2023. So we know that Mark Noble retired last season. He's not, I don't think Mark Noble is even 35 years old yet. So that's a very good, transition for him from player, club captain, long-serving player, straight into, sporting director. And if you guys want to know what the sporting director does, I actually looked that up the other day, sporting director in football. I can't remember off the top of my head, but what is a sporting director, right? And it says, and it's from the Bundesliga website, I'm letting you guys know, right? So they are former players putting their inside knowledge of the game to good use, renowned wheeler dealers whose silver tongue secures the right player for their club, and or to a man, arc strategists in whom the hopes of the Bundesliga's finest lies. They are the sporting directors, So in terms of the Bundesliga, men such as Hassan Salih Hamzic, right? If I'm saying his name right, I don't even think I am. Rudi Voller, Salih Hamzic is at Bayern Munich. Rudi Voller at Bayer Leverkusen, Borussia Dortmund, Michael Zorc, Leipzig's, Ralf Ragnick at the time, and Christian Heidel at Schalke. These guys, the brain of the club, who makes these off the field decisions. You see what I mean? That's what Mark Noble is gonna do. So let's wish him all the best. Wish him all the best. So look, in terms of other news, for West Ham sponsors Betway fined for advertising on children's pages of the West Ham United website. I don't think they did that knowingly, though. You know what I'm saying? When you go to a website and the sponsors are like at the bottom, or there's advertisement on the page, they weren't aware what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? So they got fined for that. So, they learned their lesson. For Wolves, I didn't run into any kind of news article worthy of sharing. In terms of player availability, for West Ham, Naya Fagued still out injured, new signing, and Ben Johnson, recovering from an injury is doubtful. For Wolves, Chiquinho remains sidelined. Nathan Collins, Raul Jimenez, new boy Sasha Kaladzic, all out, and Diego Costa, their new signing, remains doubtful. Players to watch. West Ham United, Jared Bowen has not started the season very, very well. I think he has a few goals in the Conference League, but overall, he's been a shadow of the player that we know he could be. Let's just put it that way. And maybe it's fair to say that Jared Bowen is on fraud watch, right? Maybe it's fair to say. Or maybe it's harsh. but it's fair. Harsh but fair. For Wolves, a player I think needs to step their game up big time, and it's about time, is Pedro Neto. Because where they lack the goals and the availability up top, Pedro Neto could step in and say, hey, man, put his hands up and say, yeah, I could do this. You know what I'm saying? You see guys like Anthony Gordon doing it for Everton. You know what I'm saying? Look at Phil Foden for Manchester City and so on and so forth. Player of that ilk. It's about time Neto step up. And I think, you know, he could have actually done well with a change of scenery. He was linked with a move to Arsenal. I think if he had got that move, he would have done well for the player and his progress and development. So let's keep an eye on Pedro Neto. Guys, prediction for this one: West Ham has not been that good in the league. David Moyes is under a little bit of pressure, a lot of pressure, I should say. And he is also on fraud watch. I don't think he is, under severe threat of getting a sack. But if the poor results keep coming in, best believe he will get sacked. And the same goes for Bruno Lage. All right? More is expected of these managers, and better results are definitely needed. And I think teams are going to cancel each other out in this game, Neither here nor there. 1-1 draw, in my opinion. West Ham, they're very potent front line, ain't really clicking. And Wolves, nobody really scoring the goals. There might be an odd goal here and there, but I think they've scored like 3 goals this season. They've been very poor in front of goal. And for West Ham, they have not really been themselves as well. You see what I'm saying? They themselves only have scored 3 goals too. So it's like it's weird. It is weird. It is definitely a weird season for West Ham. For Wolves, something that we've, come to be a characteristic of Wolves. They don't really score a lot of goals, but you would think they rectify that with transfer windows, but they just keep, the luck has not gone their way with the injuries, to Jimenez and Sasha Kaladzic. So a 1-1 draw for me, guys. Let me know your prediction in the chat. All right. If you haven't yet liked the video, feel free to do so. 17th Wolves. Their next game will be against Chelsea, followed by one against Nottingham Forest. For West Ham, who are in the relegation zone in 18th, 4 points, they have a game coming up in the Europa Conference League against Anderlecht, followed by a London derby against Fulham. Big up to everybody in the stream, man. Guys, let me know your thoughts. Michael Olapida, 2-1 win for West Ham. Lego Dude, I think this will be a 1-0 win for Wolves. A goal from Neves being that wins them the 3 points. So Adam is saying 1-0 to Wolves. Diego Costa to score. Ariola man of the match. He'll make a ton of saves. Guys, if there's anybody watching from the More Dominic Rich FC channel, big up to you as well. Guys, don't forget to check that channel out and subscribe if you're not. All right. So let us keep it moving, man. Let us definitely move on. And let's talk about the game between Leicester City and Nottingham Forest. We've been live for almost 50 minutes. We're doing well. We're doing very, very well. Don't want to be super, super, super long tonight at all. If you guys know what I'm saying. And my boy Liam just woke up too. So come, Diddy. Come to Diddy, come. You're gonna go back to sleep, right? All right. So yeah, let's talk Leicester versus Nottingham Forest. So in the last game, Tottenham 6, Leicester 2. Yeah, guys, that actually happened, right? Leicester has been very poor this season, at the bottom of the table with 1 point. As for Forest, they're not too far ahead of them. They're just 19th with 4 points. At least they got a 3-point cushion there. Their last game, giving up the lead from giving up points from a winning position again. 2-3 loss against Fulham. So in terms of the last meeting, they actually met in the 4th round of the FA Cup last season when Forest defeated Leicester 4-1. The last time they met in the league situation was back in 2014 in the championship 2-2 draw, and Forest won the other match that season. So, in terms of the last 10, Leicester only got 2 wins against Forest. So, they don't play that well against Nottingham Forest, it seems. Okay? So, in terms of the Premier League results, 6 wins, 6 matches, pardon me. 1 win for Leicester, 2 draws, and 3 wins for Forest back in the 90s, of course, right? When they were last in the Premier League. So, in terms of the two managers, Steve Cooper coming up against Brendan Rodgers. This would be the second meeting. First meeting was the FA Cup tie, of course, and this will be the second time Steve Cooper's played managing against Leicester as well. But against Forest, Brendan Rodgers do have 7 matches, 3 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses. So look, in terms of some news updates for both teams, for Leicester owners actually fly in for this match that could decide Brendan Rodgers' future. I don't know if the owners are locally based, the Thai owners, or if they actually based in Thailand and have like, some executives in England. I don't know how it's set up, but I ran into an article that says like, the big boys are coming in to watch this game, and maybe this could be the last match that Brendan Rodgers managed for Leicester City. Right? It's crunch time. It is crunch time. So for Nottingham Forest, they have signed another player. They've signed Bosnian goalkeeper Adnan Kunaric. And that's all we're gonna get into. And I can't keep track of how many players they signed this season. It has to be about 27 or so. You know what I mean? Maybe not, maybe about 20, 25, 26. So in terms of player availability for both clubs, for Leicester, Ricardo Pereira remains out injured, along with Ryan Bertrand. Wilfred Ndidi and Patson Daka remain doubtful, recovering from injuries there. For Nottingham Forest, new boy Musa Niakate, Orel Mangala, and Omar Richards all remain out, while Scott McKenna is listed as out as well. Emmanuel Dennis, Joe Rowell, and another new man, Morgan Gibbs White, are doubtful for this match. So, players to watch. I actually did not go for players here. I went for managers, both managers and fraud watch. Lost my voice there. I don't know why. Both managers on fraud watch. I think I need to drink some water. Both managers definitely to watch here, because we could see Steve Cooper get the sack. Because look, I know they made a lot of signings and they need time to transition, but you gotta stop giving up points from those very good positions you find yourself in, man. Two games. You what, 2-0 up, I think, or just 2 goals. You score 2 and allow the other team to come back and win the match. Not good. Something's got to be done. Better game management is needed from Forest. They haven't looked bad. They haven't looked as bad as Leicester. Let's just say that. But time's running out for these managers, man. Rodgers, it's gonna be sad if he gets sacked, because look, he's done well at Leicester. You know what I mean? Almost got 2 top 4 finishes, fell out on the last day, won the FA Cup. Been in the Europa League. They've not been doing too badly. You see what I'm saying? But this season, not great. Not great at all. Haven't been making a lot of signings. Lost Casper Schmeichel. So the team's been struggling with form. Let's just say that. They do have the personnel, but the form has just deserted Leicester City. My prediction for this game, however, though, Leicester at home, coming off of the international break, I think the players have regrouped. Pretty sure Brendan Rodgers, has been working hard on the team. They know the severity of the situation that they're in. And I do think they're going to bounce back here to pick up their first win of the season, 3-1. Jamie Vardy has to step up. Senior players like Madison got to step up Tillemans. Everybody got to put their hand up and put up a big performance here. As for Forest, I think they continue struggling. I did predict them to stay up, but I don't know, man. Seriously, I don't know. I think they went about things wrong. I never expected them to make so many signings, man. Seriously. I think they overdid it. They OD'd when it comes to the signings. Sign, look, sign some quality players and you know, mix them up with the players that will help you to come up in the league. You see what I'm saying? So there'll be some cohesiveness, some chemistry there. Right now, there ain't no chemistry. 3-1 win for Leicester. I'm going to keep it short and sweet and keep it moving, guys. Let me know your prediction in the chat, okay? So, in terms of the next games for both teams, Nottingham Forest 19th. Their next game will be against Aston Villa. And for Leicester City, last in the league right now, their next game would be against Bournemouth. So for Leicester, right, they got Forest, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Leeds, Wolves. These 5 games, if you can't at least pick up 8 points, Rodgers definitely deserve to get sacked, and they definitely deserve to go down if you can't pick up 8 points from those 15 available. And I'm just saying 8 to what? 2 wins, 2 draws. Might lose 1. If you can't do that, might as well go down, man. You know what I mean? It will be the end of a very great Leicester City era. Let me know your thoughts in the chat, guys. Talk to me. So let's go do this thing. I think that will be a 1-1 draw. Goal from Awani and Madison. Big up to Ryan. How are you doing, Ryan? Nice to see you in here, bro. I know you've been working hard. You actually took over from me, bro. You took over, you know what I mean? I used to be the one grinding a lot. No, you're grinding. You know what I mean? I'm taking it easy. Look at me. I'm on daddy duties. You know what I'm saying? How many people you see on daddy duties doing live streams? Not many, man. It's just me. It's just me, man. Things ain't as they used to be before. So Marcel is saying it would be harsh to sack Cooper after all that he did. Without him, Forest would be nowhere near the Premier League. I know, but that's just the game. Leicester have almost no money, which is the whole reason that Rodgers hasn't been sacked yet. If he does get sacked, there's no way they'll have the money to get Tuchel. So when you say money, it's the severance pay that they would have to dish out to Brendan Rodgers and his coaching staff. So maybe that's why he hasn't got sacked as yet. If Leicester want to stay up, they need to sack Rodgers and give the job to Big Sam. Leicester should get Tuchel if they get the money. Yeah, I don't know about that, though. I don't know about that. Adam is saying Leicester will get relegated if they lose a few more matches, especially if they lose to teams who are near near them in the table, man. So big up to Paloma in the house. Nice to see you. Big up to everybody, man. Make sure y'all drop your predictions in the chat, man. Appreciate that. So, look, we're going to keep it moving, guys. We got a lot more games to talk about, and we are not going to linger. So, the way I did things was a little different. You know, I left the bigger games at the back. But we have another, mid-tier game to talk about. Let's talk about Leeds United versus Aston Villa. This one shouldn't take too long. You know, I really don't want to spend super long on every game. I think I should spend a max 5 minutes, and this live stream should be wrapped up in like an hour, 20 minutes. But I tend to go on very long, not intentionally though. I just like to give you guys the information, you know what I mean? So Leeds versus Aston Villa. All right. So this will be a very, very tricky game here. So let's talk. In the last game, Brentford 5, Leeds 2. It seems like ages ago, man. You know what I mean? That these games were played. September, it was a weird September, man. I think, with the postponement of one match week, and we only had a couple matches. Aston Villa won, Southampton 0. So Leeds needed to bounce back. Aston Villa need to continue being consistent. Leeds 11th, Villa 15th. In terms of the last meeting between the two teams, last game, was a home game for Leeds. They lost it 3-0. Villa with the win, and it was a 3-3 draw at Villa Park. Previous season, 1-0 win for Villa, 3-0 win for Leeds. So it's been a mixed bag of results where Leeds have only lost 3 times across the last 10, dating back to 2016 against Villa in both the Championship and the Premier League. All-time Premier League results, 28 games, 8 wins for Leeds, 10 for Villa, and 10 games have ended in draws. So it'll be the second only meeting between Jesse Marsch and Steven Gerrard. Gerrard with the only win. And the same goes for Marsch against Aston Villa. But this will be the third game for Villa for Gerrard against Leeds. He has never lost a game against Leeds United, having played twice. So look, in terms of some news updates for you guys, I did my best to, scour the internet for these. All right, guys. So some interesting news here. So in the news, RB Leipzig are still waiting for 21 million from Leeds for Jean-Kevin Augustin, the former PSG man. But the Court of Arbitration for Sport has postponed the case once again. It is still unclear whether the obligation to buy has taken effect in the 1920 season. Very, very weird situation there. So for Aston Villa, Morgan Sanson was actually close to joining Espanyol on loan, but the club sent in the paperwork 15 minutes late. Also, Boubacar Kamara picked up an injury in his right knee and is expected to be out for about 2 months, which means he would miss the World Cup for France if he was even in contention to make the squad. All right, so very, very sad, man. Very sad. So, look, in terms of player availability for Leeds, Stuart Dallas remains out until 2023. And it's weird that he was a player that was the epitome of fitness, man. He was available for every game until that injury last season, the back end of last season, and he'll miss almost the whole season. So, also, there's Rodrigo Moreno out or doubtful for this one as well. I think he had dislocated his shoulder, so he will be back soon. For Aston Villa, Boubacar Kamara, Luca Dean, both Frenchmen, and Diego Carlos listed as out, while Matty Cash, the Polish international right back, Englishman, but Polish international, is a doubt for this game. For me, players to watch here for Leeds is the highly impressive Colombian Luis Sinistera. So he's actually stepped up, and he's been scoring a couple goals for Leeds. For Aston Villa, player on fraud watch, Philip Coutinho. Last season they brought him in and he was quite impressive, but I think he has gotten too comfortable again. You know what I mean? He's gotten very comfortable, and Aston Villa needs him to step up and show some of his quality because he has been very absent this season so far. So, fraud watch for Philip Coutinho. And I realize when I've been putting players on fraud watch, they actually perform in the next game. So, let's see if he'll do the same. So, my prediction for this game is pretty difficult to predict because both teams are neither here nor there. Leeds impressive at the start, kind of falling away a little. Villa, pulling things back to back, good results. The draw against City, and of course the win against Southampton. So could they continue picking up points? I think they will. I think this one would end in a 2-2 draw, high-scoring affair. We know Villa is always suspect in defense, but they've been pretty good in the last 2 games. And for Leeds, they're going to take the game to you, man. It's going to be non-stop action in this one. Jesse Marsch is a very positive manager. Leeds getting a lot of their players fit again, so that could only bode well for them. Brendan Aronson, American, he's been very, very impressive. Tyler Adams as well. So let's see how these players, continue doing in the Premier League, man. But look, guys, goals win matches. Forwards has to step up. Aston Villa, the likes of Leon Bailey, the likes of Ollie Watkins, Danny Ings. He's been kind of cold this season so far. These guys, Jacob Ramsey has definitely done well. These guys got to step up, man. And for Leeds, it's the same. Patrick Bamford has kind of, fallen out of favor a bit. Let's see if he'll feature. Let's see what he'll do recovering from injury if he gets the opportunity. With no Rafinha in the team, he's gone to Barcelona. Sinistera has definitely stepped up and has been impressive. And the injured Rodrigo, who started off with 4 goals this season, was out. So if he's available, he would need to actually hit the ground running again. 2-2 draw, in my opinion. Both teams walk away with 1 point. Guys, let me know your prediction in the chat. Would definitely appreciate that. So, look, don't forget to like the video as well, guys. Leeds 11th with 8 points. In terms of their next game, they will come up against Crystal Palace, followed by a meeting against Arsenal, then Leicester, so on and so forth. So, for Aston Villa, right now, they are 15th with 7 points. Not bad. 2 wins, a draw, and 4 losses. Their next game will be against Nottingham Forest. So quite some winnable games there for Steven Gerrard and Aston Villa. But games not being played on paper, they got to go out there and get those results. Big one coming up against Chelsea on October 16th as well. So big up to everybody in the stream, man. Smash up the thumbs up button for this. We got the Manchester Derby coming up soon. We got the North London Derby as well. I think that'll be the first match played tomorrow morning. I hate those early morning games, man, because I be so tired in the morning. And especially if the game's boring, I tend to fall asleep. So we're going to talk the North London Derby pretty soon. So big up to everybody in the stream once again. We got Marcel saying 2-1 to Villa and Gerrard. Adam, Jesse will march Leeds to victory. A big drubbing 4-1 to Leeds. Sinister to bag a brace. Coutinho from a free kick. Lego Dude says, I think Villa would win this one. 2-1. An early goal from Watkins and a Sinister equalizer. The late winner from Danny Ings. So Sinister has been one of, if not the best, Leeds player this season. BX Gunner says Villa in the mud. Let me see. Ryan has said, Adam, I hope my team can win tomorrow. Liverpool play 10 o'clock tomorrow, right? Same time as Fulham. Chelsea play as well. Bournemouth. Yeah, I'll tune into that game. I think I haven't been doing a lot of reviews, standalone videos. I've been busy, man. I've been busy trying to make some money, get my economic situation a lot better. So I haven't really been taking the time to put out a lot of videos because it's not as rewarding as it used to be for some reason, with the drop in the economy. I think everything's gone down, man, everything. So I've been basically focusing on other things and been putting my time elsewhere. Just want to keep it 100%. So, look, let's move on, man. Let's move on. We've been live for about an hour, 8 minutes. We've been doing very, very well. We got about 4 games to talk about. We've done 6. So, we've done pretty well. So, look, I want to be here all night. Got to pick up my wife when I'm done. I don't know how late she'll work tonight, but I don't want to be out too late. I got to go to work in the morning as well. So let's start the next game and let's talk Liverpool versus Brighton. We're not gonna leave that one for last because it's not a big game. It's not act like it's a huge game. It ain't. It is not a big game at all. Might be a big game for Liverpool with the position that they're in right now, but it's not a big game in the grand scheme of things whatsoever. So let me just locate that match in my notes and we'll run through that one as well. I'll give my thoughts on what I think Liverpool will do. All right. So Liverpool versus Brighton and Hove Albion. Let's go. Big up to all the Liverpool fans in the house. they've been very absent this season. I want to just put that out there. Very, very absent. And guess why? Guess why? Liverpool are not doing too great. That's why. The eighth. And we know every time Liverpool are like doing so-so in the league, the fans disappear. They hide. They're under their beds. You see what I'm saying? But when Liverpool win, you see 100 Liverpool fans up in here. So Liverpool versus Brighton. In the Premier League, Liverpool 0, Everton 0. Was the last Premier League match we saw of them. But since then, they have played twice in the Champions League. And 4-1 defeat to Napoli and a 2-1 win against Ajax. As for Brighton, their last Premier League match was a big 5-2 win over Leicester City. And I think that was the last game that Graham Potter was actually in charge for Brighton. He's now moved on to so-called greener pastures as Chelsea manager. But, you know, we don't know if it's really greener or if it's just, a facade. So in terms of the last meeting between the two teams, Liverpool 2, Brighton 0. And Brighton did pull off a 2-2 draw against Liverpool last season. And the season before that, Liverpool failed to beat Brighton, a 1-0 win for Brighton and a 1-1 draw. So in their last 4 meetings against Brighton, Liverpool have only won 1 game. But before that, they were winning everything against Brighton. So in terms of the all-time Premier League results, 1 win for Brighton, 2 draws, and 7 wins for Liverpool. So in the last 4 games is the only matches Brighton picked up positive results against Liverpool. So you could just tell how much Liverpool have kind of, fallen away. Even though last season they fought for the title and got to the Champions League final, they still, they didn't win them. They didn't win them. And that's no jab at any Liverpool fans or anything. It's just facts. It's just facts. So in terms of Klopp versus Brighton, 10 games, 7 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. And current coach Roberto De Zerbi, former Napoli player and former Sassuolo manager, formerly of Shakhtar Donetsk as well, that was his last post, was appointed the manager of Brighton and Hove Albion after Graham Potter moved on to Chelsea. So this will be the first time he's managing in the Premier League, and I wish him all the best. Let's see if he could continue where Graham Potter left off. It's a weird situation because Potter had Brighton doing so well, sitting at 4th with 13 points, right? And it will be crazy if they just fall away and like get relegated or something, So I don't think that's gonna happen, but I don't know, man. I understand why Potter moved on, but man, why do things have to happen like that? Maybe he should have stayed at Brighton and just keep taking them to heights unknown, right? To Brighton fan base. So look, in terms of some news updates for both clubs, right? I didn't have this one written down, but Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's house was actually burglarized a few days ago. And, I didn't really look too deep in the article, but that's something fresh that was in the news. So, you know how it goes out to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, because I own my house and I would not like to experience a burglary. Whether I'm there or not, I won't want to experience that because I don't want to come home and I'm like, where the hell is my PS5? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is my PS5? I'm about to lose my shit here. Where's my PS5? Anyways, in other news, more than 1,700 Liverpool fans are set to sue UEFA after the last UCL final debacle where there were quite a few injuries and psychological trauma sustained over in France. I don't know, there might be some emotional damage as well after losing the final. So let's see how that one goes, whether the lawsuits are successful or not. For Brighton and Hove Albion, they appoint Italian Roberto De Zerbi as manager, and he takes over from Graham Potter, who moved on to Chelsea. So in 120 matches for Sassuolo, he managed 1.38 points per game. And in the last, well, I did write down some stats here, but I don't even know what they actually mean. Seriously, I don't know why I wrote down some stats here, but I'm gonna just not mention it. But let's just leave it at the points per game part. I did write down something there, but I don't know why I wrote that down. But he did well. Okay, yeah. Now I remember. The last 3 seasons as a Sassuolo manager, he came 11th, 8th, and 8th. Now I see why I wrote 11, 8, 8. And then he moved on to Shakhtar. So he did well at Sassuolo. So he didn't get the job by fluke. He's a good manager. He's proven himself. And let's see how he does in his first game. Let's see how he does in his first season as manager of Brighton and Hove Albion. So, look, in terms of player availability for both clubs, for Liverpool, Oxlade-Chamberlain is out, Naby Keita, Ibrahima Konate, Curtis Jones, Calvin Ramsey, all out, while Andy Robertson remained doubtful. Kevin Kelleher remains out as well. For Brighton, Jakob Moda and Jeremy Sarmiento out, while Adam Lallana is close to a return. Could he feature against his old team? Left to be seen. And Zambian international Ina Mwepu is also doubtful. Players to watch, man. Look, I'm actually going to put this player on fraud watch. And he goes by the name of Mohamed Salah. I know it sounds rather preposterous, right? If you click Salah's profile this season, he has 2 goals in 6 games, right? Does he have any stats for assists here? 1 in the Champions League, 1 in the Community Shield, right? 4 goals in 9 matches this season. These are not Salah-like numbers, you know what I mean? 6 games in the league, 2 goals is not Salah numbers. I think you got a couple assists here and there. These are most Salah numbers right there. 35 games, 23 goals. 37 games, 22 goals. 34 games, 19 goals. 38 games, 22 goals. 36 games, 32 goals. These are most Salah numbers, not this. See what I'm saying? Salah, you on fraud watch. You got to step your game up if Liverpool are to compete for the title this season. That's all I'm going to say. But for Brighton and Hove Albion, a player that has been very, very impressive is Leandro Trossard. And if Brighton are to, sell him, they'll make bank. Definitely will make bank. So let's keep an eye on both those players here. So with that being said, my prediction for this game, look, Brighton are going to have new manager luck going for them, where when a manager moves on or gets sacked, when the new manager comes in, they do well. But this is a different situation, right? Where the team has been doing well. It's not like the team was struggling, the manager gets sacked, a new manager come in and the form turns around. They have been doing well. So basically, Roberto De Zerbi just has to continue where Graham Potter left off. It's going to be hard. He's going to come in with his own ideas. But I think he has to keep the team in the same formation, and keep the mentality the same and just slowly transition into his style. But you just can't come in and switch things up and expect the players to respond right away, unless the players do adapt and respond right away, right? But we know Brighton are going to go out there and they're going to give Liverpool a run for their money. But this game is at Anfield. Crowd is going to be behind Liverpool. Guys, I'm going to be at Anfield. Fingers crossed, everything goes smoothly in about 2 weeks. Liverpool versus Manchester City, baby. Oh, my God. Woo! My first Premier League game. I'm looking forward to that one. But look, in this game, I think, Liverpool's going to win this one. I don't think I've predicted any bad results for Liverpool this season, but there's just been a lot of bad results for Liverpool this season. So, look, 1-0 win for Liverpool. I think they'll barely win it. Brighton will give them a run for their money, but Liverpool would find some way to score. Allison would be key. Van Dijk got to step up. The thing is, you don't know what to expect after the international break, man. A lot of these players have been involved for their national teams, and you just don't know what to expect. So, Liverpool gonna bounce back from their poor kind of form in the league, where in the last 3 games they lost to Napoli, draw to Everton, and barely beat Ajax. So Liverpool are on fraud watch. Let me say that. But I think they'll bounce back with a 1-0 win here. Guys, let me know your thoughts. As I said, Brighton are not going to be a pushover. They're going to definitely give Liverpool a run for their money. But I don't think De Zerbi is going to win his first match. So 1-0 to Liverpool is my final prediction. All right. So for Brighton, who are 4th right now, 13 points. The next game is against Spurs, followed by a match against Brentford. For the Reds, they're 8th with 9 points. Their next game is a Champions League affair against Rangers, followed by a massive game against Arsenal and another massive game against Rangers, followed by an even more massive game against Manchester City. So the next 4 games for Liverpool, 2 in the Champions League and 2 against the top teams in the league, Arsenal and Manchester City. Guys, let me know your thoughts on the Reds and on Brighton. The Seagulls fly in any weather, but I don't know if the Graham Potter effect is going to actually affect them negatively, the fact that he's gone, right? So, look, big up to everybody in the chat. Michael is saying 3-1 win. Ryan is saying, are you going to Liverpool for... Yeah, I am going for sure. I actually booked my tickets already. I booked my ticket. I even booked a rental because when I get over there, I'm going to jump in the car and drive around the place. Got to drive on the right side of the road. Got to remember that. Over here, we drive on what? The left side? Yeah. We drive on the left side. I can't even remember nothing right now. But yeah, we drive on the opposite side. It's tricky though. It's tricky, but I do drive when I go to St. Vincent, which is the same as England, with a right-hand drive vehicle, and you drive on that side of the road, right? You drive on the left side of the road, I think, in England, the left side. And in America and Canada, you drive on the right side of the road. Yeah, that's how it is. So, yeah. So, Michael is saying this month is the season-defining month for Liverpool. Indeed. Ryan, what's your prediction, bro? What is your prediction for this game? Let me know. 2-0 to the Reds, said Marcel. What we got? Adam says Liverpool to win, but barely a 1-0 win in the 89th minute. Van Dijk to score from a corner, a header. The thing about Liverpool, just to add, right? Just to add, guys. I think Liverpool has kind of peaked on the clock and a bit stale. You see what I'm saying? The difference between Man City and Liverpool is that City keep you on your toes. They keep changing up the personnel all the time. Keep moving on players. They don't get emotionally attached, right? If a player's not at the level, you move the player on. For Liverpool, they don't do that. They hold on to the player for a very long time, and you see what I'm saying? They just have these emotional attachments to the players. And for Mane, he left. But, maybe a couple players should have been moved on, and Mane should have still been a Liverpool player. See what I mean? So I think some decision-making were a bit poor, and maybe that's reflected on their form this season. And maybe ultimately them not making the Champions League next season. Now, I didn't predict that. I predicted Liverpool to actually win the title, but they've been shocking so far this season. So, Ryan, what's your prediction, bro? Talk to me. What's your prediction? 3-1? Okay. But yeah, we're going to keep it moving, guys. We still have a few games left to talk about. Let's talk about the next one, Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. And then we finish it off with the North London Derby and the Manchester Derby as well. So let's do this, man. Let's work. Let's put in that work. Big up to everybody who tuned in, everybody who liked the video. all the new subscribers. There haven't been a lot of new subscribers, you know what I mean? Subscribers count have not really been growing as I'm not really doing any fresh content. I've been falling back a lot. So, maybe I too have peaked like Liverpool. So, London Derby, Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. So let's start, man. Let us talk. Let's talk. Where do I have that written down there? So, all right. Let me just locate that game. All right, I got it. I got it. So, Newcastle nil, Crystal Palace nil in their last game. For Chelsea, a 2-1 win against West Ham in the Premier League, but in the Champions League against Dinamo Zagreb, they lost, and they picked up a 1-1 draw against Salzburg. So Chelsea have definitely been in the mud. Sacked Thomas Tuchel, of course. So it's been a crisis going on at Chelsea. Brought in Graham Potter. He drew his first Champions League game in a match I think Chelsea should have won. So this is going to be a very, very, very tricky game here against Patrick Vieira and Crystal Palace, who's been very impressive so far this season. So in terms of the last meet in between these two London clubs, all 10 games have been won by Chelsea. All dating back to 2018. Very, very one-sided fixture. The last 3 matches, including a semi-final of the FA Cup back in 2022, there's been all clean sheets for Chelsea FC. So in terms of Premier League all-time results, 26 games, 20 wins for Chelsea, 4 for Crystal Palace, 2 draws. Very, very one-sided tie. Very, very one-sided, if you ask me. Graham Potter against Patrick Vieira. Potter has a very good record against Vieira. Okay, 2 draws in 2 games. Same for Potter, same for Vieira. Against Chelsea, for Vieira, poor. 3 games, 3 losses. Against Crystal Palace, for Potter, he has an okay record against Vieira, 2 draws. But against Crystal Palace, for his Brighton team, 4 draws, 3 losses. Let me see if he actually managed for Swansea. Yeah, 1 game for Swansea. That was a win for Palace as well in the EFL Cup back in 2018. So it's going to be tough. So this could be a monumental game for Graham Potter, picking up his first win against both Vieira and against Palace, this time as a Chelsea manager. All right, so in terms of some news updates, guys, nothing on Crystal Palace. A very small club, so they don't really have a lot of, notable news breaking. But for Chelsea, Chelsea are ready to enter a £130 million race for Jude Bellingham to rival Liverpool, Man City, Real Madrid, Man United, all the clubs in for the highly impressive former Birmingham City youngster, right? I don't know if Man City is actually going to sign him, but the fact that we've played against Bournemouth quite a few times and he's been impressive against us, might as well sign him. You know what I'm saying? Might as well sign him, man. If like a player like Bernardo Silva leaves the club to go to Barcelona, you're bringing a Jude Bellingham. You know what I'm saying? Keep it fresh. It don't look like Liverpool's going to get him, though, because, look, man, the Liverpool fans have been raving and drooling over Jude Bellingham. You might not get him. Just want to put it out there. Especially if you're being cheap. You ain't going to get him, man. Not going to get him. So, look, plenty Chelsea news today, guys. Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool all hope to become multi-club networks similar to that of the Red Bull model and the Manchester City model as well, where the City group has over 10 clubs, right? Red Bull has about 3 to 4. So Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool are looking to follow that same model, buy up a few small clubs around the place, and where they could send their players out on loan or buy their talented players and so on and so forth. Juventus open talks with Chelsea, want away Christian Pulisic. Yeah, Pulisic's days at Chelsea are definitely numbered. Chelsea sacked recently appointed commercial director who sent inappropriate messages to football finance agent Catalina Kim. And Damian Willoughby had been in his job for less than a month. So I don't know what the inappropriate message is about. I don't know if he told Catalina Kim that her ass is fat or something. I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't look into it too much. But those are some news updates for Chelsea FC. So there was also some news over bringing in Christoph Freund as their sporting director, but he decided to stay at Leipzig, I think he is. Leipzig, one of them Red Bull clubs. So in terms of player availability for Crystal Palace, Nathan Ferguson remain out injured, while James Tompkins is out as well. Jack Butland and James McArthur are still both recovering. For Chelsea, Edward Mendy and N'Golo Kante recovering from injuries remain doubtful, but we could see maybe Mendy, less likely N'Golo Kante. Chelsea's a whole different team without Kante in the team, man. Let's just make that clear. In case we forget about N'Golo Kante, he's been injured, and maybe that cost Tuchel his job too. Poor results. Tuchel arguing with the big boys, with Bowley, and it was said that the visions didn't align. You know what I mean? And when your vision don't align with the boss, you get sacked. Players to watch: Crystal Palace, Wilf Zaha, their talisman, of course, and if they are to pick up any good results here against Chelsea, where they have not picked up any across the last 10 games, Wilf Zaha is going to need to be unsung. For Chelsea, Graham Potter, first Premier League game in charge of the Blues. Moving on from Brighton, where he got Brighton up in fourth, 13 points above Chelsea in the league as well. Let's see if he could pick up where he left off at Brighton. He got supposedly better players at his disposal, not players that he brought in, but he gets to work with Mark Cucurella once again. But look, man, he has a very talented roster to work with, man. Big money signings as well, new signings, guys like Dennis Zakaria, Khalidou Koulibaly, Mark Cucurella, working with him again. Wesley Fofana. He dropped both Koulibaly and Fofana in the Champions League game. Didn't really work out. But let's see how he does as Chelsea manager, man. I want him to do well. I don't really want Chelsea to do well, but I want Potter to do okay. You know what I mean? But who knows? He might get sacked before the season ends. Let's see. What if Graham Potter gets sacked this season? He doesn't do well and gets sacked. And what if Roberto De Zerbi also doesn't do well and gets sacked and Potter ends back up at Brighton? That would be crazy. And it's quite feasible. I think that could actually happen, though. But look, Chelsea players got to step their game up big time. The forwards got to step up. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling has been their best player this season. I know I give him a lot of stick, but he's been good. Kai Havertz got to step up. Timo Werner. Oh, Timo Werner is not a Chelsea player anymore. Like I told Chelsea fans, Timo Werner was shit. They never believed me. They argued. You know what I'm saying? Erling Haaland has scored more goals in 7 games than Timo Werner. Okay? In about 50 plus. And Chelsea fans wanted to argue with me. I love to rub it in. Absolutely love to rub it in. Am I missing any new players that Chelsea signed? No. But Chukwuemeka and these guys, yeah. They got the personnel. They just got to step up, man. But do not take your eye off this very talented Crystal Palace team. Let's put it out there, man. Let's put it out there. But with that being said, look, my prediction, I think Chelsea are going to continue their dominance in this London derby here. It's been too one-sided. It's not too late to, for the tide to turn, but I don't think it's going to turn. Crystal Palace will be competitive. but I think Chelsea would just edge it 2-1 here. But they have to be on their game. They really have to, because Crystal Palace team are not playing around, man. They're not playing around. Eze, Zaha, Michael Olise, these guys are dangerous. Mateta and Edward, when given the opportunities, these guys will punish you. But I'm still going to go for 2-1 to Chelsea. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the chat. Don't forget to smash up the black cleat thumbs up button, okay? Anyways, let's keep it moving. And with that being said, in terms of the next games, for 7th place Chelsea with 10 points. Their next match would be in the Champions League against AC Milan, followed by a meeting against Wolves, Milan again, and then Villa. For Crystal Palace, they're currently in 16th with 6 points, 2 draws in the last 2 games. The next one will be against Leeds, followed by a 1 against Leicester City. Talk to me, guys. Talk to me. All right? Talk to me nice, though. So, Adam is going for a draw. Adam, wow. 3-3. Ziyech hopefully will with a good goal. Brozier and Chilwell to score. Zaha with a brace. Is it to score? If Potter can get those divas playing, it will be tough. Lego dude, 1-1. Zaha and James to score. Bad decision to sack Tuchel, but I stand by Potter. Hopefully, he'll do a good job. This is a transition period for Chelsea this year. 6th place finish. I didn't predict Chelsea to come in the top 4, so I think I was on point, man. I think I was on point. So Chelsea also tried to sign Nkunku. He did half a medical as per Fabrizio Romano. Well, next time I do, run into some news, I'll actually, give an update on all the clubs. But I didn't see anything on the Nkunku situation there, though. So big up to everybody in the stream, guys. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button for the video. I haven't been as active as I should be. Nothing at all during the international break. But no regrets, man. No regrets, because I'm taking some time out to get my personal situation in order, okay? This YouTube thing could be very, very taxing. Very taxing. And I put a lot into it. And it's time for me to actually start making some better decisions and just taking it easy sometimes and be like, all right, I don't really need to say nothing about this situation. So let's talk about the big North London derby coming up first thing in the morning, man. Not going to be super, super long on any of these previews. Just want to give my thoughts, coming back from the international break. You never know what's going to happen. Just want to give my thoughts, man, on all these games. And then we'll have the discussion on Sunday. So Arsenal versus Tottenham. Arsenal 3, Brentford 0 in their last game. Tottenham 6, Leicester 2 in their last. In terms of the last meeting between the two North London rivals, Arsenal versus Tottenham finished a 3-0 win for Spurs in the last game. That was at the Spurs Stadium. And at the Emirates, Arsenal won 3-1. So it's a trend where Arsenal win at home, Spurs win at home. You see what I'm saying? And it's just been a trend. That's just what it's been. That's just what it's been. Just, there's been a few, exceptions where in 2018 in the quarterfinal of the EFL Cup there, Arsenal lost to Spurs at home. And there's been 2 draws, back in 2019 for both teams. But each team does better against each other when at home. So this one's difficult. This one's going to be a little different in my opinion. But before I give away my prediction, let's continue. So, look, 60 all-time Premier League games, 22 wins for Arsenal, 15 for Spurs, and 23 draws. Remember, during this period, Arsenal have a few Premier League titles, and for Spurs, none. Mikel Arteta coming up against Antonio Conte here. This would be, in terms of the meetings between the two managers, only the second meeting with Conte picking up the only win. Arteta against Spurs, 5 matches, 2 wins, 3 losses. Conte has a poor record against the Gunners. 9 games for Chelsea and Spurs, 2 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses. So not very good. Not a very, very good record. Let me see if he has any games for Juventus in there. So no. So it's just for Chelsea and Spurs. For Chelsea against Arsenal, he only picked up 1 win. He had a very, very poor record against Arsenal when he was a Chelsea manager. So look, so a quick update on both managers and the teams there. So you know, just some news updates for both clubs. Let's touch on that and some squad updates as well. For Arsenal, I ran into an article in terms of the women team, right? They did beat Spurs 4-0 and broke the WSL attendance record with 52,000 tickets sold, beating a previous record of 38,262. And the men's team, the reason why I made a note of this is the men's team will be hoping to replicate this type of beatdown that the women team put down on the Spurs women team, right? So let's see if Arsenal men team could replicate that win. For Spurs, Heung-min Son became the first Spurs player to score a Premier League hat-trick as a substitute. And also the first player to do so since Stephen Naismith, Everton versus Chelsea back in 2015. So give it up to Son Heung-min, man. So look, in player availability for Arsenal, Mohamed El Neni, Emil Smith-Rowe, Thomas Partey, Reece Nelson, Kieran Tierney, and Alexander Zinchenko all remain out or doubtful, while Cedric Suarez is also a doubt. He has not really been involved that much this season. For Spurs, Lucas Moura, Hugo Lloris, and Ben Davies all are doubtful. I also read into an article where it says that Spurs are actually eyeing Atletico Madrid goalkeeper Jan Oblak as, replacement for Hugo Lloris. They want to move on from Lloris. Let's see if that actually happened. So players to watch, man, for both teams. For Arsenal, look, I could talk about many players. Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus. But we're going to mention a special player here, Bukayo Saka. I think Arsenal are going to need Saka on top of his game here. And it's good for him that some of the workload has been taken off his shoulders, well, where other players are stepping up and doing well. But he's going to need to put out a big performance here at home against Spurs if Arsenal are to continue to stay on top of the table, right? So the crazy thing about this game is it's the first match of the Premier League match week. Arsenal do have 18 points. Spurs got 17. So whichever team wins this game will be on top of the table. Might not be for very long, but for Arsenal, if they win, they will stay on top of the table. If they draw, they could still stay on top of the table if Man City fail to beat Man United, right? So a lot at stake here. Even though it's still very early in the season, a lot is at stake. So look, Tottenham, player to watch, Son Heung-min. Very interesting story this season where he's been starting a lot of games, not scoring, got dropped, came off the bench to be the first Spurs player to score a hat-trick as a substitute. Statement. He's given Conte a headache. Kulusevski can't start, bro. Can't start. It's going to be Son, Kane, and Richarlison. Kulusevski, unfortunate casualty here. But it's good competition in the team, competitive competition, and it could only be good for the team, right? So, look, with that being said, what's my prediction here? Both teams have started well. Arsenal, quite impressive. Not so impressive against United. Spurs, A bit inconsistent as of late, but still, they've been very good. Bounced back with a big, massive win against Leicester City, right? I think this one's going to be a draw, guys. I think this one is going to be a draw. I'm going for a high scoring draw. It's going to be end to end stuff. Very open game of football. I don't see any team really sitting back and soaking up and playing like that for the entire game. Spurs going to take the game to the Gunners. The Gunners going to take the game to Spurs. A lot of quality on display. Arsenal with their youth. Spurs with the likes of Kane and Perisic. Son Richarlison. Javier Bentancur and Co. Which goalkeeper is going to be more impressive under there? Lloris or Ramsdale? Is the Arsenal defense going to continue to be very impressive? Saliba, Magalhaes, Ben White. Who's going to be at left back? Is Tierney going to be fit enough? We're going to see Tomiyasu slot in. Who's going to, what are we going to see? Is it going to affect Arsenal? The midfield is going to be key. Granit Xhaka. Who's it going to be next to Xhaka? Is it going to be double pivot or just one with Odegaard and Vieira? Or we're going to see Sambi Lokonga? Who are we going to see? Who are we going to? It's going to be, this team selection is going to be key to who goes on to win this. Same for Arsenal, same for Spurs. Especially Spurs. Especially Spurs. Because I think with Arsenal, Arteta knows his best 11. He's going to, once fit, we know that we're going to see Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, Xhaka. But for Spurs, there's been more chopping and changing over there. You see what I'm saying? The defense, Dyer. Is it going to be Dyer? Is it going to be Sanchez? Is it going to be Romero? Who's it going to be? That's the thing. Is it going to be Longley? So both managers need to get the 11 spot on. Tactics spot on. I'm going for a high scoring draw, man. This one's hard to predict. Let me know your thoughts in the chat, guys. But I know it's going to be a good one. That I know. So for top team Arsenal, their next game is against Bodo Glimt in the Europa League, followed by a massive one against Arsenal against Liverpool. Bodo Glimt again, then Leeds United. As for third place, Tottenham, 17 points, only goal difference separating them from Manchester City. They do have Eintracht Frankfurt next Tuesday, followed by Brighton, Frankfurt again, then Everton. Then a big one against United, October 19th. Let me know your thoughts, guys, before we move into the final match. Today we'll be live for an hour, 48 minutes. It's 11:21. Time's just flying, man. God damn. Let me actually take a look at my phone. Let me see my wife message me. Actually, she did 20 minutes ago. God damn, I'm got my phone covered up. Let me see what she's saying here. Oh, she said 11:40. So, all right, man, we got some time before we head on out of here. Big up to Adam, who's saying this is an Arsenal 2-1 win. Saka and Odegaard, Son for Spurs. Lego Dude, I think this would be a 2-2 draw goals from Son for Spurs and Gabriel Jesus and Saka for Arsenal. So, Adam is saying, I hope Arsenal and Chelsea Spurs both lose. Well, what do you mean? A draw would be that they lose, right? A draw? You want them to draw, right? That's what you're saying? Okay. Any more thoughts? Drop it in the chat, guys. We'll definitely appreciate that. So, big game in grand scheme of things. Both teams could be in the title race this season. Or maybe they won't. It's left to be seen. Left to be seen. But look, let's talk about the final one, man. A big one. Massive. Manchester Derby, the first one this season. Manchester City versus Manchester United. I was actually contemplating going to this game, but I needed to give myself a bit more time to, buy my ticket and things like that, and just sort out logistics. So I didn't just want to. It should have been a good game to go to for my first Premier League game, but I say, you know what, man? Let me go see the Liverpool game. You know what I mean? The Liverpool Man City game. That one might be better. You see what I'm saying? That one. Maybe the next time, according to how the trip goes, I plan another one maybe for, I don't know, maybe next winter. See what I'm saying? Who knows? Maybe I try to go to a Champions League game. Who knows, man? But according to, if everything goes well, I'll definitely be back in England to watch a home game for Manchester City. But let's talk, man. Man United versus, well, Man City versus Man United, I should say. All right, let me get it right. Now, both teams are going to want to get it right. So let me get it right. Let's talk. This one's a big one. This one is a big one. Let me actually locate my notes. I get everything, on point here. Guys, if you don't know, I write notes every match week, man. These previews, a lot of work go into the previews, a lot of thought process, a lot of time. So, guys, make sure you like the video. Thank you very much for your continued support, right? Let's start Manchester City versus Man United. In the last game, City 3, Wolves 0. Last Premier League game for United, they defeated Arsenal 3-1, but they have played in the Europa League twice, losing to Sociedad and defeating Sheriff Tiraspol 2-0. In terms of the last meeting between the two teams, the last few Manchester derbies, right? Last season, Manchester City, of course, did the double. 2-0 at Old Trafford, 4-1 at the Etihad. Previous season, United picked up a win at the Etihad and a draw at Old Trafford. City did win in the semi-final of the EFL Cup there, 2-0, where there was only a one-legged semi-final. Usually it's a two-legged semi-final, if I'm not mistaken, in the EFL Cup, right? But I think last season it was one leg. United did do the double. They did win a couple games with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They were very impressive against City under Solskjaer. For some reason, they were just picking up these wins. You know what I mean? And I'm glad to see the back of Solskjaer, actually. So could City continue their dominance with those 2 wins last season against a hapless Man United team under new management? Trying to turn a page, right? A new leaf. Pep Guardiola coming up against his former assistant, Eric Ten Hag, for the first time. Ten Hag against City for the first time. In 20 matches against Man United, Pep has lost 6, drawn 3, and won 11. All right? So let me just double check, make sure all those games. Let me see. There was a few games for Barcelona where he won. Few games for Bayern Munich, quarterfinal of the Champions League as well. And, he did meet Man United in the final of interestingly, the Champions League twice, and he won. So he has very good memories against Man United, for Man City, for Barcelona, and for Bayern Munich. So, look, let's talk what's at hand here. This is a huge match. This is a huge game. We know that. Big derby. And in 50 matches, 17 wins for City. Most coming in the post-takeover era. 24 wins for United and 9 draws. Man City, of course, have been the most successful team in the last 10 years. But United has 1 title. Man City has racked up about, 5? Am I right? 6? Can't keep track. It's been a lot. It's been a lot of titles. Mancini, Pellegrini, Pep, 6? This is a big game because United and Ten Hag seemingly are a brand new team. They're not looking bad across the last 4 games, right? But before we get into, the more nitty-gritty part of this, we have a few news updates, right? And for Manchester City, they've actually been taking a look at Atalanta's young centre back, Giorgio Scalvani. And Atletico Madrid are said to be interested in the player as well. So let's keep an eye on the situation. Let's see if he's going to be a City group signing, maybe for Palermo, who's part of the City group, the latest club to be part of the City group, Also, there's been a string of welfare complaints from parents at the Man City's Girls Academy, where it's prompted an FA probe. So let's also keep an eye on that situation. For Man United, no news articles to really talk about. So for City, player availability, Emerick Laporte is at 50%. He should be back soon. Calvin Phillips is out. I think he went on the knife, did a surgery. And John Stones is out injured. He got injured on the international break. For Man United, Donny van de Beek, Marcus Rashford remains a doubt. Brandon Williams, Harry Maguire, Anthony Martial, Mason Greenwood are all out. And new goalkeeper Martin Dubravka is doubtful, even though he's not expected to play the game. Players to watch. Look, man, for Man City, I'm going to go with a duo player to watch here. Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland. These players have linked up really, really well so far this season and would be the key if Man City are to go on to win yet another title, doing the three-peat. See what I'm saying? So, going to be a hard duo to keep quiet. Very, very difficult because the telepathy between the two players where Haaland knows to make the run, De Bruyne will pass the ball. De Bruyne knows where to find Haaland. It's like, there's a radar, you know what I'm saying, picking up Haaland. And both players has definitely been really, really impressive so far. How impressive? Let's just take a quick look at Erling Haaland's profile so far this season. The number 9, the Norwegian, he's only 22 years old, and he's already scored 11 goals in 7 appearances in the league. To go with a few in the Champions League. So 14 Manchester City goals in 10 games. Absolutely out of this world. Okay? And if he continues like this, he will score upwards of 40 goals this season, which would be absolutely insane if you ask me. Let's take a look at Kevin De Bruyne, right? He has a handful of goals this season. Not much in terms of goals, but 1 goal in the Premier League, and that's it. But the assist count is going up because if we go over here and we go down to where the stats, let's go over the stats. Check the leaderboards. Erling Haaland on top with goals. Kevin De Bruyne on top with assists. Okay, so that's why a deadly duo. Deadly duo, man. And Haaland has a couple assists as well to go with that. For Manchester United, any one of their players on the leaderboards there? No. But we have to keep an eye on the new centre-back partnership of Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane, if both are fit. Because I think that will be key. Keeping Haaland, Foden, Grealish, Kevin De Bruyne, whether Gundogan or Bernardo plays, it's going to be a task in itself. Man City just continue to just throw the kitchen sink at you. All the players become a threat to score. Even Ruben Diaz running up to tap in like a striker. John Stones, you see what I mean? Kyle Walker not so much, but Cancelo could hit them. Rodri could hit them. Gundogan with his runs. So Martinez and Varane is going to need to be on their A game if they are to keep a clean sheet or keep the goals down to a minimum and go on to get something from this game. What I like about this game is going to be the battles within the game as well, where the midfield, Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, whether Fred or McTominay plays, whether it's Casemiro. I want to actually see a Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno Fernandes. I want to see these teams put out their best possible teams, especially United. Put them out. Anthony, Sancho, if Rashford is fit enough. Put out the best possible team. Malacia, Dallo, interesting battles on the wings. De Gea is going to be tested. Edison is going to be tested. Is it going to be Diaz and Akanji at the back for Manchester City? Who's Pep going to go in with? Enthralling, man. Enthralling, to say the least. This game will be on Sunday. It has its own slot, so no other game will be played. It'll have our undivided attention, and I'm looking forward to this one 100%. Who do I think is going to win this game? At first, I wasn't confident. I wasn't confident about this game at all. Doubts were kicking in, but the team has been impressive, right? I know there's been a few draws, a few setbacks, but it's going to be difficult for United to get something from this game. I know they've been impressive in their last four. They beat Liverpool. They beat Arsenal, right? Right? You see what I mean? You know, you got to give it to them. Definitely got to give it to them. Check their form guide. They beat Leicester, beat Southampton, right? The two games that they lost, they shouldn't have really lost those games. Brentford and Brighton, right? United should have been 6-6. Man City, Newcastle, and Villa draws. That's been it. No losses yet. Very impressive start. Only Arsenal above City. If Man United manage to pick up a win here, we gotta take them very serious this season. Very, very serious. Even a draw. Because they're picking up some form. They're competing. A draw for City won't be a bad result. It just means they continue to remain unbeaten. It's been a great start to the season. I think it's been a better start than the previous season where we still went on to win the title. You see what I'm saying? So a draw won't be a bad thing to me either. I don't want to draw, but it won't be a bad result at all, seeing that United are playing well. But with all that being said, you know Man City are going to play with most of the ball. And it's going to take a big effort for Man United to keep them out. I think there's going to be a few mistakes. Maybe De Gea giving away the ball, lingering on the ball. Something, Martinez tested. Varane doesn't play too well against Manchester City. So I am confident that City is going to walk away with a win here. I was leaning more towards a draw, to be honest. A couple of days ago, Wednesday, I was leaning towards a draw. My boy Finn had hit me up to do a mini collab, but the video didn't really record. We did like a WhatsApp call, and the voice didn't recall. And I said a draw. Thank God it didn't record. So I could double back on my result, my prediction now. I'm going for a 3-1 win for Man City. I think they'll score, but I think it'll be a consolation goal. The thing about United is, our guys like Bruno Fernandes is going to step up when they really need to step up. They have done against both Liverpool and Arsenal. They have done, right? Sancho, they have done. Rashford, they have done. But could they keep consistent against the juggernauts, Manchester City? I don't think so. I'm going for Pep's team to go on. My team to go on to win the game 3-1. Guys, let me know your thoughts. All right. That's the best I could do in terms of analyzing, man. In terms of a combined 11 for both Man United, Man City, which players could actually make the Man City team? That'd be more of the question you're going to ask, right? Maybe Bruno Fernandes will get into the midfield. You think Bruno Fernandes Kevin De Bruyne. But then again, is Bruno Fernandes better than Bernardo Silva? It's arguable. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Anybody from the defense is gonna get in? I don't know. I think De Gea will get into the team. I won't mind a De Gea in the team, you know. His shot stopping ability is very good. Edison, shot stopping ability, very poor. But De Gea's distribution is not that good. You see what I mean? So, but guys, that's my prediction though. 3-1 to City. In terms of the next game for Manchester City, will be in the Champions League, of course, against FC Copenhagen next Wednesday. And the next Premier League game is against Southampton, followed by the Copenhagen away leg, and the game that I'll be going to against Liverpool on the 16th of October. That will be on a Sunday. It will be, 4:30, 8 p.m. UK time. So, yeah, looking forward to that game. I'll try to do a little vlog, guys. I have a, what do you call it there? A GoPro. I haven't used in quite a few years. I got to crank it up and see if it, I get it working again. And I'll do a vlog of some sort. You know what I mean? My first Premier League game. So the Lego Dude is saying Haaland is a cheat code. Indeed, he is. Adam, Dom, when the Chelsea and City play in the EFL, that's a home game for City. I don't even know, bro. Seriously. I could remember us drawing Chelsea. Yeah, I could remember that. That game is sometime in November. That will be November 9th. Home game for Man City, yeah. Just before the World Cup. The last game before the World Cup for City is against Brentford. So the second to last game before the World Cup is against Chelsea there. So let's hope that there's no injuries to any players going into the World Cup as well. So, look, for Man United, in terms of their next game will be against Omonia Nicosia in the Europa League. They're traveling to Cyprus. Oh, man. Vacation. Then Everton, Omonia again, and then Newcastle. So thanks to everybody who tuned in to yet another live stream. I did enjoy doing it. 2 hours, 7 minutes. Took me a little longer than I wanted to, but there were some big games, so, I had to get deep. Thanks for everybody who tuned in, man. Adam, Lego Dude, BX Gunner, Ryan, Michael Olapido. Who else? Who else tuned in? A lot of you guys tuned in, man. People who commented, those who didn't, those who watching the replay right about now. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Marcel, Palomo. Who else we had in here today? Let me see. For those of you guys who commented, not a lot of you guys commented today, but still. It feels good to be back. It's been a while. I was supposed to do this live stream since Wednesday, but I've been some things been coming up. You know what I mean? Like last night, my boy Liam didn't go to sleep, and he's sleeping right now, so that's a good thing. Errol Brown, big up to you, bro. Big up, thanks for coming in. Big City fan. Everybody watching the replay, make sure you smash the thumbs up button, guys. I gotta go pick up the wife right about now, so I will link you, pretty soon. Maybe I'll do a little video tomorrow, a little roundup on the games tomorrow between, after I get off of work. Maybe I'll do something. I think I'll do something for a little 10 minutes. I'll get something and put it out a little later and start being consistent on the channel again. All right? So, guys, thanks for tuning in to yet another one. It's your boy, Dominic Rich. Until next time, peace out. Rich Squad. Peace.